This video was published on Valentine's Day, and whether or not you have a Valentine today, I hope that you fall in love with this chess game. I present to you a very little known chess game from 2014 in which two grandmasters of pretty old age, 69 years old and in his 80s, faced in what is the game of love. In today's game, we have Miso Cebalo from Croatia, a grandmaster, who played a Russian grandmaster who's quite famous, Evgeni Vasiukov. By the way, I couldn't find this game on YouTube that had big resonance, so hopefully this is the video that marks the land. Cebalo opens with d4. His opponent goes for an unorthodox, underplayed opening that is f5. Now, I won't lie to you, I've tried this a couple times in tournament, and it's not a bad move. Though Cebalo's second move here is very underplayed at high level, yet very interesting. Bishop g5, I will add to my repertoire. It prevents the knight from developing here to f6 because if knight f6, bishop takes ruins the pawn structure, with notes of a Trompowsky attack by white. Vasiukov decides to go with g6 here, and now the black pieces will simply develop with bishop g7, knight h6, castles here, knight f7 to hit the bishop, and etc. So that's black's plan. e3, knight h6, h4, very interesting alpha zero-like move by the white pieces. Miso aims to open up this h-file on this weak knight and undefended rook as soon as possible, especially to hit viciously on this h6 square. Now, knight f7 was played. Bishop f4, we want to keep this bishop, that's very nice, and controls a lot of the dark squares in the enemy position. d6 played. Now the fight is surrounded around this e5 square, and e5 is the main threat. So logically, Cebalo continues with knight f3, taking up this e5 square once more. And now Vasiukov makes the big mistake of still continuing to fight for the e5 square, but this time with the wrong piece. So he should go with bishop g7, e5 threaten next move, and you're developing very vitally for castles next. But now black goes knight d7. And this makes the black position look very silly. I mean, look at the weak light squares that are around this black position. If I have a knight here, it's game over. And just based on that is the clue for Cebalo's next move, developing yet attacking bishop c4. Attacking this knight, threatening to already take out all castling rights from the black pieces. And now Vasiukov, he must have had an off day because, okay, I'm seeing this and I'm a grandmaster, I see this and this is the threat, right? So h6 is the logical continuation, but here Vasiukov plays bishop g7, very nonchalant move, quite losing, and just aims for rapid castling. The problem is, Cebalo goes with bishop takes, check on the king. King takes is pretty forced, and now the follow-up knight g5 poses questions to the black pieces. The king can't just go anywhere. If you go king e8, the queen is checkmated, and although this is very romantic, you're checkmated on your throne. Pretty sad. King f8 falls onto a fork, a royal fork, and king g8 also loses to knight e6 check to the queen. Queen has to move to e8, and now this fork wins a rook. So the king is forced already on move 9 to f6 in what is now complete humiliation for the black pieces. How do we follow this up? Well, the king is in a mating net, so we have to analyze where or from which vantage points would we checkmate this king. And Cebalo goes with a very nice follow-up, knight c3, threatening mate in 1. Already, move 10, two grandmasters playing, and mate in 1 is threatened on this board. Vasiukov replies, c6, lining up some frontier soldiers. Queen f3, and now the advanced players will already see what Cebalo is lining up here. But I'll keep it a mystery just for one more move. Black continues with e5, this time grabbing that center at once, although too little, too late. Although black is attacking the bishop and pawn here, well, attacking the bishop, which should be a tempo gaining move on this bishop, forcing it to move out, the white queen completely ignores this threat on her religious member of state, and instead surrenders herself to the first foot soldier guarding the gates of this fortified city, whilst threatening checkmate in two ways. This is a trap. The foot soldier can't really take this queen because of knight jumping in with a symmetrical pattern checkmate. How romantic, how beautiful, how loving. And so, black must live with this threat. Vasiukov, startled probably, goes with queen e7, taking up these two squares. No more checkmate threat. Cebalo replies by ending black's suffering. This reminds me of that painting. I think it's called the Genesis, in which the hands are almost touching. The lovers are so close, yet so far to making it happen. And that is the sacrificial love, the agape, it's called, that is described in this game. Cebalo now plays knight h7, check to the king. Vasiukov resigns immediately because this knight is decoyed to clear this square for the bishop to hop in next, to then skewer the king and queen whilst formulating checkmate on this board. Before it was knights, and now it is bishops, checkmating this king on the very same square.